I think to play knight c3 to prepare e2, e4, developing in the center. Knight c3.
Yeah, in this position, black can play e5. Then white may exchange pawns and exchange queens. It's all right for black, but not too interesting. Not something to play in a game for TV, I suppose. Also, I can prepare it with knight d7 and then e5 and no exchange of queens. I'll do that. Knight b d7.
And now e2, e4, as I planned.
Well, he's playing it normally. Let me play e5 and see what happens.
Perhaps I'll choose knight e2, what I played several times. Knight g1, e2.
Yes, I can still fianchetto my king bishop, but then I probably go into the position he wants to have. g6, he has a king's Indian with knight e2. He knows that very well. I don't know what knight e2 is when I develop my bishop to e7. The knight would be more natural on f3. We shall see. Yes, I don't see any other move. Bishop e7.
Now I think I have to develop my king side, especially the bishop f1, then g3 with the plan bishop g2, g3.
When his bishop goes out that way, that may give me a chance to play b7, b5 very early. I think I'll prepare that at once. I see no reason to castle because there's no threat in the center. The normal move would be castles or maybe c6, but I think I'll give him something to think about. a6, first of all, preparing b5. I like that, yes. a6.
I think I must develop my bishop, bishop g2.
There's something I want to do on the king side. I want to advance my rook pawn. If I play h5, he probably plays h4, and then if he plays f4 very quickly, my knight gets the g4 square. It looks like a good idea. It looks like something that slows down the game, makes it impossible for white to take the initiative early in the center. Anyway, people say I'm crazy with the rook pawn. Also, I've promised an American publisher to write a book about the rook pawn once. I promised that 5 years ago. Now h5 is good, h5.
Bill, is it crazy to move both your rook pawns like that?
Well, Larsen actually once explained to me his philosophy of rook's pawns. He has a whole philosophy of them. One of the things he said was that when he doesn't know what to do, he moves a rook's pawn. On that principle, he has twice not known what to do in this game, but I think he knows what he's doing. With a blocked center, the idea is to advance rook's pawns to gain space and then seep into the opponent's position around the edges. That's what he's trying to do on the king's side.
So at the moment, he thinks that Forentosh has rather a good and happy opening position.
I think he's pretty happy with his own position. They both have the sort of position they like.
Which sounds like impasse.
Oh, no, far from it. A good fight.
Yes. If you do advance these rook pawns, not knowing what you're going to do, what is your sort of long-term strategical view? Is it to attack the centre from the flanks, or what?
Yes, it really is, and that's why you can only do it when the centre is fairly closed, because it's no good running along the edges of the board when there are things going on in the middle. You just can't cope then, you can't control enough. When the centre's blocked, you can seep in around the edges.
Right, well, with Forintosh about to play his 8th move as white, confronted by these two advancing rook pawns, which Larsen has pushed out at him, let's go back to the game.
Yes. Black threatens now to go ahead with his h-pawn, h4, or perhaps later on h3. So I have to prevent it. I can play or h3 or h4. Let's play h4. h2, h4.
Well, I have an idea which probably is not quite sound. I want to sacrifice a pawn with b5. If he takes it, I take. He takes with the knight, bishop a6. The knight can go back, and then I take on d4. He takes with the knight. I play knight e5 probably, or knight c5. Knight e5, I must cover c6. Knight e5. It's not enough for the pawn. He plays bishop f1. Also after b5, take. He can take on e5. No, the pawn sacrifice is not justified. But a6 is not a wasted move, because now I can play c6 and prepare b5. That's about the only sensible move I see. Yes, c6.
Well, black now threatens to develop on the queen side b7, b5. I think now the best way to prevent it to push the pawn d4, d5. Yes, d5.
Well, this solves some of my problems. I have a choice now. I can play it very quiet. I can play a5 followed by knight c5, but his pawn on e4 is very well protected. If I take on d5 and he takes back with the c pawn, and I play b5, in that kind of position I think his knight on e2 is not so good. It should be on f3. On d5 he can take with the knight. I take that. He takes with the queen. Knight c5. It looks quite satisfactory. Yes, it's the more active continuation. C takes d5.
In this position I have three possibilities to take the pawn. With pawn c, then with knight, and with the pawn e. But I think my knight e2 is not very well placed, so I will take it with knight, and we shall see later what will happen.
Well, this one I have to take. Knight takes d5.
And now finally I have to decide which pawn to take d5, because I feel queen takes d5 is not very good. Black develops with tempo, so I will take it with the pawn c4. c4 takes d5.
Yes. Now his knight from e2 will go to c3. This could inspire me to play b5 at once. I don't like that too much because he plays a4. It looks like it's all a little too early. Yes. The other idea is to play knight f6. Sometimes it goes to g4. Knight f6 protects h5. I like that. It's probably okay. Knight f6, bishop d7, rook c8. Sometimes I castle. Later I play b5. I think it looks okay. Knight f6.
Yes. Now bishop e3, what I planned, it does not go, because knight g4, and I must go away with my bishop. Then I think I must prevent b7, b5, so I will play a4.
Now I can castle or play bishop d7. It probably all comes to the same. I don't know, castle first or bishop d7. They're both okay, I guess. Well, it looks logical. I protected my h-pawn and now I don't need the rook on h8. Let me castle.
Well, now I have a choice to develop my life on to c3 or castle. I think a knight must be on c3, so I play knight c3.
No, not much choice. Bishop d7 looks normal. What else? Bishop d7, if he plays a5, I play b6 maybe. That looks okay. Bishop d7 threatens b5. Well, threatens, makes it possible. Bishop d7 must be the right move.
Right, now in this game, each player has to play 40 moves in 2 hours, and so far Forintosh has spent 41 minutes over those opening moves, Larsen just 17, so he has a 24-minute time advantage. Let's join Bill Hartston for the next few moves.
Forintosh bringing his bishop out to g5. This is a little strange. The knight coming to g4 to exchange these bishops, and Forintosh exchanging them. That's surprising because white has an advantage in space thanks to these pawns. You shouldn't exchange pieces when you have more space. Relieves black's cramp. The more minor pieces there are on the board, the worse black's position is. Now black's got room, but white still ought to be a little better. The pawn coming up. White's still hoping to keep this space advantage. Black's expanding on it. White could take en passant, but that would give nothing. Knight coming back. That's a nice little maneuver. The knight's coming to b4 to attack this fixed a6 pawn. Yes, it's come to b4. Black's rook's very active on this open c line. Rook attacking the queen. Where's Larsen moving it? Back to e1 here. And the queen defends this pawn. Very strange, unusual queen in the corner. Just defending a pawn. Yes, the other rook coming to the c line. White has a fairly crummy bishop on g2. It's blocked by his own pawns. Black has the better bishop. White has more room. Really, the position's about equal. But black must stay active. In any ending, this knight attacking this a pawn will be a severe problem. White's trying to exchange rooks. That's the right policy. It's a fairly typical Forintosh game. He is very satisfied with small advantages. I don't think he has an advantage, but if anything, this knight at AR, now the knight's had to go back to drive this rook out. Larsen playing very well to keep activity despite the exchange of pieces. Another pair of rooks coming off. Queen check. Hey, the king's got out of the way. The queen also is defending this rook. Now the rook's off. Now Larsen has to find something to do because now white has control of this open file. Yeah, his plan must be to hit on the king's side with f7 to f5. That's why he played this g6 move. Yeah, now the king's, this is neat. The king's getting out the way to leave this square free for the knight. Yes, I think that's what he's doing. The knight's gone back, and now he's preparing f7, f5. And white's bringing this bad bishop, hoping to get some activity.
So, according to Bill Hartston, anyway, the position fairly even, fairly equal, which is perhaps a little bit surprising since Larsen is the #1 seed, ranked 7th in the world, and would expect to beat Forintosh fairly easily. He's certainly beaten him in the past. Back to the game with Larsen.
Well, f5 is what I planned. I can also play knight e7 first. But after f5, I don't know if I want my knight on e7 or on f6. On e7, it protects c6. On f6, it attacks e4 sometimes. I think I'll try to do something energetic. He's in time pressure now. I must make use of that. I also have queen f2 check, but I think that's nothing. I can give check and go back. Now, let me try something. f5.
Well, black 3/10 now take a4, and if I take it with my pawn, then the square g4 is very weak. Knight can get there through f6. So the best solution is possible to take f5. And if black takes with pawn, then I can play queen d2, threatening check g5. Okay, e f5.
Yes, if I take with the pawn, he plays queen d2. I can prevent that if I give check on f2 first, but then he threatens a6 all the time. Can I attack him there on the king side while I give up the a pawn? I don't see it. I think I have to take with the bishop. Bishop takes f5.
Yeah. Now I have a possibility to play queen d2, but I like to have the c line, so I will prevent the check f2 with king g2. King g2.
Now I have to make up my mind. Bishop d3 is probably the next move. Then my knight can get to f5. I can also play knight f6. That's the choice. On e7, my knight defends the c6 square. It looks better to have the knight doing two things. Maybe it gets to f5, e3, or f5, d4. I'll play knight e7.
Well, no, bishop d3 I did not like to play because of queen e3. So I developed my bishop to e2, bishop e2.
Now there is something interesting in the position. I can play bishop h3 check. King takes, queen g1, threatening mate in the corner. Then he must play g4, and then I have a perpetual check with the queen on h1 and g1. But is there a mate anywhere? I could also prepare all this with g5. g5, if he takes it, maybe he doesn't take it, maybe he plays knight c6. That disturbs me a little bit. And bishop h3 check, king takes, queen g1, g4. Now I don't think I have time. I cannot get the knight into the attack. He can always pin it with queen c7. Bishop h3, king takes, queen g1, g4, queen h1 check, king g3, queen g1 check. That is a draw, but he has only very little time left. That draw, that's probably the correct continuation, but I think I'll try to do something in his time pressure. Queen b7, attacking the d pawn. That's a nice idea. Queen b7.
So my pawn on d5 is attacked, and I am short of time, so the best way to defend it, queen d2, and even sometimes queen can get to g5. Queen d2.
I cannot play e4 because it gives me check on d4. I can prepare that. It's one of my little threats. I can prepare that with king h7. I don't see a better move. Let me play quickly to avoid giving him time. King h7.
Perhaps now threatens e4. I will play probably bishop d3, and if knight takes d5, then bishop takes f5, and knight takes b4. I have an intermezzo move, bishop e4, and after d5, queen takes b4, and white has a slight advantage. Yes, if black takes the bishop, that's another case. Okay, bishop d3.
That's move 38. I have to invent something within the next two moves. Knight takes d5, bishop takes f5. Doesn't look very promising. So I have to take the bishop. I cannot retreat. Okay, bishop takes.
Now I have no choice. Queen must take d3, and I have to do just one more move before the time control.
He has a little more than a minute. Maybe he has almost 2 minutes. Difficult to see it on the clock. queen c7, he can defend a5 with knight c6, and then if I take it, he pins me with queen c3. Then if I take the a pawn, no, maybe he pins me with queen c2. Then if I take the a pawn with the queen, he takes on c6 with the pawn. That's a very strong passed pawn. I don't know if it wins for him, but he has all the chances. I don't like that. I have to do something before he gets his bearings in the position. Queen a7, he can also play knight c6. Knight f5 is a move, it gives him knight c6. Then my queen has very few squares. Queen c8 looks better, he takes the c file. Queen c8.
Now black threatens to come c1, if he wants, of course. I have the possibility to do queen d2, but I did not like it because queen c7 and takes the pawn a5. Another possibility, queen e3. Yes, it looks like good. It threatens a pin to get a7, or in case queen c7 to play queen b6, it was okay. But what to play after knight f5? Oh, I have no time. I will play queen e2. Yes, queen e2.
That's strange. What does he do now against queen c3? Let me take a little time here. It's move 40 and he is past the time control. Queen c3 looks very strong. Maybe I shouldn't take so much time on it. It's a chance I get. Knight f5, he goes to c6. Queen c7 doesn't look right. Queen c7, oh, that's like before, he plays knight c6. Queen c3 is a chance I must take.
Well, it looks as if that last move that Farintosh played before the time control might just have been a mistake. Let's join Bill Hartston for a bit more of the game and see what he thinks. Bill.
Yes, that queen e2 really looks bad because Larsson's queen is now right in his position, attacking the pawn and the knight, and he has to find some way out of these problems. Yes, he takes the a-pawn, but now that was White's last threat gone. His own a-pawn vanishes and the black queen is still very strongly placed. Knight to b8, where's that knight going? The d-pawn's gone, Larsson's now a pawn up. Extra pawn with queen and knight, active queen, active knight. Really look as though they ought to be enough to win. Farintosh trying to get his queen in down the a-file, but the black queen and knight, very strong attacking pieces. There's queen and knight coming in, he wants to play knight here. Check, knight f1 check. First his own king is checked, out of the way on. The b pawn advances to open this white square diagonal for the queen. Knight f1 check. King out the way. Now black's threatening a mating net. Queen f1 check. g4 to give the king a square on g3. The king goes to h2. Now this pawn's going to fall. But first a queen check. All these kingside pawns are terrible now. All these white pawns are just dropping. White in check. Note that black doesn't take the knight now. It's white's last hope. If he takes the knight, g5 check. But gives a queen check. Now white looks quite lost.
Well, Farintosh in deep trouble, and all of it really due to that rather poor 40th move, queen to e3. Larsson very much after him. Let's go back to the game with Farintosh to play and see how he gets out of the trouble he's in.
Yes, this check was the strongest one. I go with my king h1, and I have my last written to check g5. King h1.
Well, now I take his g-pawn and he has no threats. H takes g4.
Now knight takes g4, and if queen takes, then I can take d2, knight check, and threaten to take d6. Knight g4.
Well, I can take that and win the queen ending, but I think it's better to keep the knight on the board for a moment. My king enjoys its new freedom. King h5.
Yes, that was the best solution. Then I come back with my knight h2.
I suppose everything wins now. Knight f3. Well, that's again a queen ending, but it'll be a queen ending at least 3 pawns up. Oh, a last trap. King takes h4, queen takes d2. I don't know if I win with 3 pawns against the knight, but I'm not going to try it. No, knight f3.
Yes, and now I cannot play queen e2 because black can play queen h2 and I am lost in any way. I think I must resign.
Yes, I was a little lucky there when you allowed queen c3.
Yeah, I was really in short of time.
When you played queen e2, you must play queen e3. That's very
Yes.
good, because if I play knight up, you give check with the queen.
Really, I was thinking about queen e3 and queen d2. But
Yes, they're
it was
both
a
good.
Typical mistake.
Typical time pressure.
Yeah.
So that one mistake at move 40 was critical for Farintosh because Larsen doesn't lose or draw games where he has 2 pawn advantages. This is the state of the tournament so far. Larsen, down at the bottom there, now goes through to play Donna in the semi-final. In the top half, Tony Miles, the British Grandmaster, plays Hort from Czechoslovakia. That's the game next week, Hort versus Miles. Until then, from all of us here in Bristol, good night.